Hey everyone, welcome back for week 7. I know at this point we've had a few weeks in a row where we've just had activities and assignments back to back, so it is a lot, and you will have assignment 2 released this week, and that'll be due October 30th. So yeah, lots of content, and you're only going to see more and more as we get further into the course. So yeah, I just wanted to say at the start of the video, feel free to just take one day and just don't look at any code. Take a bit of a break, and I think that'll help out with maybe stress levels, or maybe you might need a reset. And if you're having any problems with anything in the course, of course, you can always send me an email. We can do a Zoom call whenever it's convenient for both of us. So let's get into the topic for this video, or the first few topics in this video. We have comments. We'll talk a bit more about comments and strings. In the next video, we'll talk about the for loop, key term here, mutability, and we'll talk about lists finally. So for this video, comments to start. So comments, what are they? They allow you to document your code, and they're pretty much essential for any program you write. Now, me personally, have I neglected comments? Oh yeah, a million times. There are so many programs I've written where I'm just not paying attention. I'm just sort of trying to get it done, and I don't comment properly, and I end up paying for it because I'll go back to that program, say even a couple weeks later, and I'll have no idea like what I wrote, and I'll end up having to just rewrite the whole thing or some part of it, and it sucks. So commenting is very helpful, and you should do it as much as you can. So to do it, to write a comment, you write a hashtag like this, and you can comment above or below something that you're doing. You could also comment to the right. Okay, if you comment here, you're going to comment out the entire line, which will negate what you're doing. Another note on comments, they're not just helpful for you, they're helpful for others. So especially once you start getting into things like GitHub, or just posting your code publicly, or maybe even, let's say you read a paper and you use some code, you make some code, you'll have to document that code ideally, and when you do that and you make it viewable for other people to see, you're going to want comments so that other people can use your code and maybe cite your work. So for both yourself revisiting the code and for others who are going to be using your code, comments are super important. And if you're using someone else's code, I'm sure you appreciate when someone comments it very well and you can sort of understand what's going on. So that's it for comments. We'll talk a bit about docstrings too. So what are these? These are comments, more comments, but they have to do with functions. So if you write a function, these docstrings are a way of documenting these functions and saying what they're doing. And again, they're just going to be very helpful for you revisiting your code or someone else looking at your code. So this function does blah blah blah. So the first bit is for just a general overview of what you're doing. And maybe not general, try to be specific and say exactly what is going on in your function. The next part is going to be naming all of your parameters. So in this case we have a parameter x1, and we could say a positive integer, for example. Maybe we'll have another parameter, x2. And to document this, we'd say again, param x2, let's say this is a negative integer. And what we're returning, whatever we're returning, we put this in the last part. We say return, and let's say x1 multiplied by x2, or whatever you're doing. And then after your comment, you have to have some sort of function code which does something. And I guess in this case we would say return x1 times x2. That's what our function does. And then that's fine. So this right here, these three quotation marks and three quotation marks at the bottom are just called a doc string, and they're used to document your functions. Strings. So talk a bit more about strings, and this will get us into lists, because strings are similar to lists in that you can access certain elements of a string just like you would access elements of a list. And we'll get into lists in the next video, but let's say we have a string. String is cowboy, whatever you want, and we'll print one element of the string. So to do this, we can print a square bracket 0. So what am I doing here? I'm printing out the first element of the string. We count, the index starts at 0, and in this case we'll have index 0 is the C, index 1 is the O, W is 2, 3, 4, 5. So it'll go from 0 to 5. If we print A0, we'll print this capital C. Okay, so what about if we print A4? Okay, well A4 is going to be lowercase o, and that's here. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. What about A8? Can we print A8? No. String index out of range. Why is it saying that? It's saying that because this is only running from indexes 0 to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0 to 5. Okay, so 8 is not one of the indexes in the string. It only goes to 5, so this is out of the range of that string. What else can we do with strings? There's a lot, but just for this lesson, let's just use slicing as an example. So what's slicing? We can take a subset of a string. So what's 2 to 4? How is this going to work? Well, we start with 2, 0, 1, 2, so we're starting at the W, and we're printing from 2 to 4. But this doesn't actually include the 4, so it'll just be 2 and 3. So we'll just print W and B. Okay, if we go 2 to 5, we'll print 2, 3, and 4. So WBO. Okay, well, we'll get into aspects like this with lists in the next video, but that's going to be it for now. Thanks.